I never liked people. That's why I took the job as a fire lookout in a remote part of the Appalachian National Park. My nearest neighbor was a 3-hour hike away, and my only socializing was a nightly radio check-in with a guy named Miller. The first 2 weeks were a dream, just me, my books, and the endless sea of pine trees. But then the glitches started. Around 3 a.m., the radio static would change. It wasn't white noise anymore. It sounded like rhythmic breathing. In, out, in, out. I told myself it was just interference. Miller told me to stop being a city boy and go back to sleep. But on the 16th night, I saw the light. It wasn't a forest fire. It was a single cold blue light deep in the valley where no trails existed. It didn't flicker. It pulsed like a dying heart. I marked the coordinates, and the next morning, I packed my gear. I felt a magnetic pull, as if something in that valley was calling my name. It took me 4 hours to reach the spot. The forest there was dead silent. No birds, no wind, just a heavy, suffocating stillness. In the center of a small clearing, hidden under a layer of rotted pine needles, I found it. A heavy iron trapdoor bolted directly into the forest floor. There was no handle, only a small glass slit, about the size of a mail slot. I knelt down and brushed away the dirt. I looked through the glass. At first it was pitch black, but then a light flickered on below. About 10 feet beneath my boots, there was a room. It was a perfect, terrifying replica of my lookout tower's kitchen. Everything was there. My coffee mug with the chip on the rim, my book, even my dirty flannel shirt on the chair. My heart hammered. It was impossible. I looked back through the glass slit. This time I wasn't looking at my kitchen. I was looking at a face. It was my face, but the proportions were wrong. The eyes were too wide, devoid of any white, just two abyssal pools of black. The other me was staring directly up at the glass, as if it had been waiting for hours. Then it did something that froze my blood. It reached for the radio on the table, the exact same radio I had in my pocket, and pressed the button. My radio chirped instantly. The static came through, followed by that gravelly breathing. "Miller," I whispered into my radio, my voice breaking. "Miller, do you copy?" The voice that came back wasn't Miller's. It was mine, but it sounded like it was being squeezed through a throat filled with wet soil. "Don't be a city boy, Elias," the radio hissed. "Just come downstairs. Dinner's getting cold." Then I heard a heavy iron bolt sliding open, not from the radio, from the door beneath my feet. I turned and bolted into the thicket. I ran, but the forest seemed to have changed. Every tree looked identical. As I ran, I heard a sound behind me, my own voice wailing from the darkness. "Help me! It's got me!" I finally reached the ranger station as the sun began to dip. Miller was sitting on the porch. He looked up, his expression shifting to total confusion. "Elias, what are you doing here?" he asked. "I just finished talking to you on the radio 5 minutes ago. You said you were settling in for the night and that you'd found a lost dog. You sounded happy." "I quit the next morning. I moved to a city, to an apartment on the 20th floor, as far from the trees as I could get. But the woods didn't let go. Every morning I wake up and find a few fresh pine needles on my bedside table. And last night, when I looked in the bathroom mirror, I realized something that has kept me awake ever since. My reflection didn't blink when I did. It just stood there, smiling that wide, impossible smile, while I heard a faint metallic click coming from somewhere directly beneath my bathroom tiles.